Welcome to Lesson 16A, Validating Controls in Web Forms. Your web application must verify that all the data entered by the users is valid. This once formidable task has been made easier by the validation controls that are included as part of the ASP.NET Web Forms framework. The validation controls are located on the Validation tab of the toolbox, and these are the validation controls. The required field validator control is used to ensure that a value has been entered and is the most frequently used validation control. The compare validator control is used to perform a data type check and to compare the values of two different controls. The regular expression validator control is used to compare a value against a regular expression. It is used to validate the formats of such things as email addresses and phone numbers. The range validator control is used to check that a given value is between two values. The validation summary control displays a list of all of the validation errors on the page. The other validator is the custom validator control, and I covered that one in Lesson 17A. In this lesson, you create a page with a number of validation controls, including a validation summary. There are no lesson requirements, and the hints for this lesson are: set the display property for the validator to dynamic to prevent the user interface from reserving room for the error message. Also, when using a validation summary control, make sure that the text in the error message property and the text property are different. To get started with this lesson, click New Project, select ASP.NET Empty Web Application, and enter Lesson 16A for the name of the application, and finally click the OK button. Right-click the name of the project in the Solution Explorer window and select New Item from the Add menu to open the Add New Item dialog box. Select the Web Form template, enter createaccount.aspx for the name of the new web form, and click the Add button. Set the title element of the createaccount.aspx page to Create Account, and entering the various items. We're going to have a text box that's going to hold the text box username, another text box for the password, another text box to confirm the password, and finally a button to create the account. Add a required field validator by opening the toolbox and going down to the Validation tab and selecting the required field validator. Now, open the Properties window and change the name to Required Field Validator Username. Set the control to validate to Text Box Username, enter the error message. Please enter your username and set the text property to an exclamation point. Add another required field validator for the password. Once again, go to the Properties window, change the ID to Required Field Validator Password. Set the control to validate to text box password. Enter the error message, please enter your password, and set the text property to an exclamation mark. Now add a required field validator for the confirmation password. Go to Design View, and you see it's a little easier to update the properties. So we'll select the required field validator, change the name to required field validator confirm password. Now we go to the control to validate. There is a drop-down list provided, and we just select the confirm password off of that drop-down list instead of having to type it. For the error message, enter please confirm your password and set the text property to an exclamation mark. Now enter a compare validator for the text box confirm password control. Change the name to compare validator password. Update the error message to please verify that the two passwords match. And set the text property to the exclamation mark. We still need to update the control to validate and the control to compare. So let's do that now. The control to compare has a nice drop-down list, and the control to validate does as well. So we can just pick our items off of those lists. Update the display property of the required field validator to dynamic. That way space will not be reserved unless there is an error. Now click the F5 button to run the application. You can see you receive the text errors, but you don't actually receive the error message. So let's add a validation summary. Put that right here at the bottom. Run it, click, and there is our validation summary.